Now we're going to look at some of the kind of cool special techniques you can use with text in InDesign. Both of these require you to start out by moving your text from type to outline, so it's pretty important you make sure you've spell checked at this point in time. So once you've ran spell check, go up to type, create outlines. Notice I just marqueed over my text with my selection tool, and now my text is all outlined shape, which means I can select individual letters and words and do some fun things with it. So one of the first things we're going to do is create a gradient and apply that to our text. We're going to go to Window, Color, and Gradient. And I find it helpful to have both my gradient and my swatches pulled up simultaneously. And I'm going to create a linear gradient. These are called stops. And so obviously I don't want a black and white gradient. I want to use some of our colors that we've created in this document as my stops. So you can see I've actually done some percentages of these colors, and then that's actually the colors that I'm going to be applying in here. So let's go ahead and, oops, we're going to grab this green, and I'm going to drop it down to this stop. I'm going to grab this blue and then drop it down to that stop. You can see I get a little plus mark when I hold it directly over that. If you end up with a situation where, say, you didn't quite get it dragged perfectly, and so you still have your black here at the end, not a big deal. Just click on that black stop and drag it away. If you really only want those two stops, that's what it should look like. Now that you've saved your gradient, now that you've created your gradient, it is in your swatches panel, and you can drag it down and save it as a swatch. So we'll select our type, select our gradient swatch, and you can see it moving from blue to green, exactly how this appears. Now if we want to change how that gradient looks, we're going to grab our gradient tool, and we can make it go in a different direction. Our second cool trick involves this text, and as you saw, we've already created outlines, and we're going to place a photo in here. And one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure that photo is a manageable size. You don't need to crop it, but just make sure it's a manageable size similar to the space you're working with. And you're going to go File, Place, or Command D, select your photo, and you can see, if we zoom in, this is the image of the deer from our lead photo. Now it doesn't quite fit. It's cutting off a little bit. So I need to get this photo to fit. So I've just double clicked it, and now I'm accessing the contents of the photo. I'm going to use Shift Command and just scale that up. Position that how I want. I think it can be interesting to have the mountains kind of showing there. And so those are tricks to put photo in text and create gradient with text. Obviously you would want to not use these together and limit use of this technique, but in the right usage it can be a pretty cool look.